How to increase the volume of finished products from yeast dough. The volume of finished products is the factor that primarily indicates that the finished product has turned out. Today we will talk more about wheat flour and products made from wheat flour. The volume of finished products is influenced by many factors, from ingredients to cooking technology and semi-finished products used. Let's start with the fact that flour and its technological characteristics primarily affect the volume of the finished product. The protein content in flour directly affects the volume, regardless of the grade and type of flour. The rheological properties of the finished dough and, as a consequence, the volume of finished products depend not only on the quantity but also on the quality of the protein. The amount of protein in flour can be adjusted by adding dry wheat gluten, dry gluten. The dosage of this ingredient can start from 1% by weight of flour. In many ways it depends on the flour itself, but also on the result you want to get. If we add more gluten, the volume of products can be significantly larger than without it. The dosage depends on the flour you use. In addition to the amount of protein, there are also qualitative characteristics. The volume also depends on them, but it is more difficult to influence them, and specialized baking improvers are used for this. With the help of these micro-ingredients, it is possible to increase the extensibility of protein, or vice versa to reduce. It is possible to increase the gas holding capacity of flour and other qualitative characteristics. The volume of products is also affected by the technological process used in the production of products. First of all, this is influenced by the correct kneading. Even if there is a lot of protein in our flour, this does not mean that the volume of products will be optimal. It is important to knead the dough correctly. Fully formed gluten, a complex of proteins in flour, directly affects the volume of finished products. The correct percentage of yeast content in the dough also affects the volume of products. 2 to 4% by weight of flour of mixed yeast and 1 to 2% of instant dry yeast. If there is a lot of fat in the dough, butter, margarine, then in this case it is also necessary to increase the mass of yeast, since fat slows down fermentation. The correct kneading of the dough is important. All the fat that is in the dough is added at the final stages of kneading the dough, since fat prevents the formation of a gluten framework. The fermentation process is important after kneading the dough under normal conditions. The primary fermentation takes place in the conditions of the workshop, and the final proofing process in specialized equipment at elevated temperature and humidity. From 28 to 32 C and humidity from 75% and 85%. The volume of finished products is also affected by the correct pre-molding and molding of products. Preliminary rounding of blanks after cutting affects the volume, since rounding affects the strengthening of the gluten framework, and strengthening affects the volume. In order to strengthen the gluten frame, the process of grinding is used. Basically, this process is used for wet types of dough such as ciabatta. Additionally, pre-fermented semi-finished products such as various types of sourdough and such types of sourdough as biga and poulish will help to increase the volume. These semi-finished products, participating in the main kneading of the dough, supply the already formed gluten. These are the main aspects that will help increase the volume of finished products. Watch other videos on the channel how to open a bakery.